You didn't hear my joke, Patricia.
My joke.
Oh no. Hilarious. You know what it is? You sit up straight so we can't see it, and then all of a sudden you be like, today we're talking about.
Oh yes, yay.
What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Clearly Distorted podcast, where we discuss our clearly thought out ideas, shed through our distorted lenses. What's going on, guys?
What up?
What's going on?
I just want to talk like Daym. WSJT 94.4.
That's
Daym time.
That's how we starting. Delilah.
Coffee time. Coffee time.
Delilah was the shit.
Yeah.
No coffee time.
That's my word.
Tea time. How about that?
Clearly Distorted. The podcast. So,
Nobody here
what's
drinks
new?
tea.
I'm Damien, by the way. That's Julian.
And I'm Julian.
And that's Patricia. And welcome to the quiet hour. We're really doing this. Yeah. Anyway, how are you guys? What? Yes, of course.
Schweddy balls.
Oh, I should have said no. I should have said no.
balls.
Have you guys seen the SNL episode?
Hey,
Yes.
focus.
Sweaty balls.
Both of you.
Schweddy balls. Schweddy balls.
We're in the introduction.
You know what I love? When you take words like that and you make them sound like cool, like so sweaty balls. It makes it sound sweaty and kind of funny, and that's pretty dope. Like focus, I like to say fuck yes.
Focus.
Yes. Dame's like fuck yes.
All right.
No? All right.
Anything else you guys want to share?
Oh, just
About weird wordplay
is-
that you like?
Sweaty.
It's
Fuck
it's
yes.
oh god.
Sweater weather. That's another one. It's sweater weather.
Sweater weather.
Sweater weather.
So did you just say you like sweaty balls?
Did I say I like sweaty balls?
I swear you just said you like sweaty balls.
I like when my balls are sweaty.
Mm. Mm.
Why?
Mm. Why are you asking?
Do I have to answer that? When my balls are sweaty, that means there's some action going on. That's it.
Oh, okay. I mean, I don't know.
Why am I
You
taking
asked. Why would you ask another dude that?
No, wait, stop.
You just said, did I hear you say you like
I
sweaty balls? You
mean,
got all
some guys
excited
go to the gym, some guys play basketball, some guys work outside. Like there's
I
cut your fucking grass. Like there's a million
But you
fucking
asked-
reasons.
But you asked me if I like them, and you did it with a certain kind of enthusiasm, and I don't understand.
It was a confusion because I don't like when my balls are sweaty, but you seem to enjoy that. So I was curious, why the fuck do you like that? I can't. We all know I can't wait to get a fucking shower. My balls are sweaty. So, yeah, I guess that's where that came from.
All right, so moving on because we have a serious podcast that we are.
I cannot
doing
tell
right now.
I don't know.
This is serious shit we're talking about today.
All right, so we're just gonna get right into it.
No sweaty balls from this moment on.
Oath keepers.
Yeah, let's get into it. But you know what? Before we get into the Oath Keepers, I just saw this thing pop up, and I totally forgot to tell you guys this news item. It's a local news in my area, so
to kick off the podcast.
Bear with me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. This wasn't scripted or planned or anything, but I got to cover this. So
Right now.
a guy in Pasco County, Florida, right, was coming into his he has like a little farm, and he kept coming into his chicken coop, and he was finding that like some of his chickens were like injured, bleeding, some of them were dead, and this kept happening on and off for like a year. So he kept getting like traps. He thought it was maybe like a dog or some kind of animal getting in there. So he couldn't figure it out. Nothing was getting caught on the trap. So he ended up installing some cameras in there. And the cameras weren't the best quality because at nighttime, you know, it kind of gets a little janky,
Grainy.
a little weird,
Grainy. Yep.
grainy and stuff. So, you know, he couldn't really, you know, see what was going on. But what he was able to see and what he caught was there's a man who was breaking into his chicken coop area, taking the chickens out, grabbing the chickens by both their legs and eating them out like violently. Yeah, they haven't identified the guy, but there's video.
Time out.
Yeah,
Because I'm translating this in my head. He was eating the chickens, or
No.
no.
Oh,
he was
Eating
okay.
them out.
He was eating them out. Like, yeah, disgusting. He was grabbing them by the two
don't need the picture.
legs.
We got it.
And he was, yeah, kind of like if it was like this was a chicken.
There we
right?
go.
I knew it was coming. I know it was coming.
You know what I'm saying? Like that, right? So yeah, so they haven't caught the guy. He's wanted for like animal abuse and all these kind of different charges in Pasco County.
That's so disgusting.
Yeah.
It had to be Florida. It had to be Florida.
Yeah, it's a sick world we live in.
You know,
did you hear about that story,
no,
Damien? You
I
live down here.
definitely did not hear about that. I would not have been surprised if it was Polk County, but Pasco County, that's a little.
Oh, it was right in my general area, but they haven't caught the guy yet.
Man,
So gross.
that's hilarious.
Oh, sorry, excuse me.
You're so stupid.
You like that one, right?
You had me. You had me.
So while you guys were talking, I was like crumbling all these tissues up and stuff to make them look like feathers. That's an old joke.
That was fucking good. Yeah, you got me.
Yeah,
you got
all right.
me.
Oath keepers.
Fucking tears in my eyes, bro. Oh,
I was hoping that shit was gonna come out on camera. I got like some. Okay, I'm good. I don't know, but Patricia ain't laughing as like hard as we are about it. Did you get it, Patricia?
I did.
Okay.
She's morbid. She would have laughed if like you like coughed up a bloody piece of a chicken leg or something.
No, I really think she was disappointed that this wasn't a true story. I think that's what it was. It was because she looks totally disappointed.
No,
she's like,
really,
"Are you serious? That was a joke."
No, you know why? I almost missed you, with the feather simulation, whatever it is, because I was like actually looking for the stupid thing on my Google. I'm like, Polk County chicken.
So what? Well, yeah, I was gonna say, what exactly did you type for the search on that?
Polk County bestiality.
That's now on your fucking search engine.
I know. I was thinking about it. I was thinking about it too. Aww. Now the fucking Turkish police is gonna come looking for me, thanks to you.
Oh man.
Wow.
All right, folks, that's all we have for this week.
Anyway, I don't know how we transition to a serious story.
Transition.
No,
all right, let's get to something serious.
Alrighty.
Oh fuck! How do you recover from that? That was too much. Oh man, I got that picture in my fucking head now. So, the leader of the Oath Keepers and one other was found guilty, convicted of seditious conspiracy. There were a total of 5 defendants that were all charged with this, but they only found 2 of them guilty. Some of the others were found guilty of other charges, but this being the most serious one, only 2 of them were found guilty.
Only 2 of them were found guilty, you said, right?
For conspiracy, seditious conspiracy, yes. All of them were found guilty for obstructing an official proceeding, which was the certification of Biden's election victory. And some of them had some other charges, tampering with a witness or something like that, or some other shit. But you know, the big story is the seditious conspiracy. I don't think it's like something that came up with back from the Civil War time frame, and I think it's only been used once since then, prior to this. So it's a big deal.
And somehow,
no, go ahead, please.
And I'm listening. No, I'm listening to Damian talk about this, and somehow I still don't understand how Trump is being allowed to run again.
Well, the investigation continues. It's not done. This is just, there were like a total of, I want to say 900 people that were charged with some sort of crime having to do with the September 6th. So this was just 5 of the 900 and something. But being that this guy was the leader of one of the groups that was the most involved with September,
January 6th.
I was about to say September 11th. With January 6th, this is and the charge being found guilty is a pretty big deal. But there's more to come. There are 4 or 5 other people of the Oath Keepers that are facing the same charges, and their trial, I think, starts in a week or so. So,
so don't you guys think that because this is ongoing that they should hold off on Trump's ticket?
You can't legally. I mean, in this country, it's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, right? So, based on that alone,
until Donald Trump gets convicted of anything, then yeah, you know,
which I don't think he will.
Just focused on that.
I definitely don't.
Well, he just recently that special, what was it, that what do they call that, it's special master was his Trump's special master or whatever was rejected by the courts or whatever. So
are you talking about his taxes being released?
This was for for his for the documents that he had. So at some point, I think they're going to try to get him for something, is the point that I'm saying. Well, it might not be for January 6th, but
they've been trying for something 2 years. So we'll see.
It's a slow process, but I'm not confident, but I do think that down the road, something's going to happen. I think you know what I think is going to happen? I think if he starts running and he's pretty low on the polls and DeSantis or someone else is kicking his ass, he may get away with it. I think if he gets closer to winning and his popularity was what it was, I think they're really going to try to stop him in some way. That's just my conspiracy thought process behind it. But I do feel like it is more likely he gets convicted of something if he looks like he might be the nominee.
That's really bad messaging.
Yeah,
it is. But that's what it just seems like to me. It could be a stretch. I hope it's a stretch, but I don't know.
I think regardless, I'm like you. I don't have great confidence that it will happen, but I really feel like they have to be able to prove it in court, or else democracy is like on the will forever be on the edge of being non-existent in this country if we don't ever clarify that.
We have presidents that have gotten away with a lot of stuff. War crimes and everything
Yep.
under the sun. So it's a little bit
a
hard to
little
think
different,
that.
bro. This is
No,
like
because it
it's
was on
different.
our soil.
Yeah, this
So
is a little different.
yeah.
Well, I mean, even Nixon, right, and Watergate and everything. Like, I'm just saying, like, they've gotten away with a lot of things, even though he was impeached or whatever, and he left office. This is up there with that, if not worse, much worse. But I'm just not totally confident either that anything's going to happen. But I do feel like they're trying. So we'll see. But I just want to say this, back to the Oath Keepers thing. Let this be a lesson to all you Polk County backward ass chicken eating fucks. All you crazy ass people who think that you're going to be able to do stuff like this and start some civil war and all of this stuff. Like, slow down with that shit. Like, just slow down with it. I really hope that this is a deterrent for, future morons. Probably not, but
I was gonna
hope
say,
so.
I think they would just be more pumped,
Well, the what really got them hemmed up was because this was in DC. So in DC there's no guns. You can't have possess guns in DC, but in Virginia you can. So while all of this was going on in DC, across the border in Virginia, not very far away, they had a hotel rooms filled with guns and people just waiting for the fucking bat symbol to come up, and they were going to flood the fucking. So that's what got them
that's
hemmed
crazy.
up. I do think that will be some deterrent, because that's what a lot of them were planning, and that's what they've attempted to do to different degrees, and kidnapping governors and shit like that at gunpoint. So I do think this will be a deterrent.
I want to say that I'm glad that this happened with Trump supporters, which I think they're just super dumb as shit. Because if it were to have been the smarter people, this probably would have been executed. But because it's like backward as Trump crazy supporters.
No, I think you got the wrong picture. This guy that was just convicted was former military, I want to say Navy SEALs, but he was special forces of some sort. And once he got out of the military, he went to Harvard and got his law degree. He's not a dummy.
He's still an idiot.
He's not dumb, was the point.
No, I didn't know, but
idiot.
the followers, the masses, the people that were waiting, it's just not organized. Thank God that he could have been a Navy SEAL, he could have gone to Howard or Harvard, but it wasn't organized correctly.
Yeah,
it was very organized. And the one thing that they were waiting for that would have bailed them out was for Trump to give them the signal. Because if Trump had said something to the effect that like he needed protect, there's a law in place that would allow a militia to pose as security, say for the president or what have you, if called upon. And had Trump said the words, those people in Virginia would have crossed the line and they would have been able to pull off their plan. So the only thing that happened was balls. Trump didn't have the balls to go that far, because
I think Trump
he would have
had
involved.
The balls. He probably just didn't know.
Yeah,
of course he knew.
Daym,
is that why Pence had said that he
think about what you're saying?
It would have been a direct link, and that's why he didn't do it, because he skates the line where you can't directly link him, although you can see his involvement. That would have been a direct link. And that's why
I don't know if I believe that to be the case. We don't know what was in Donald Trump's head or not, but I do think that, like Patricia said, I don't think it was as organized as they thought it was. You had a lot of people who were jumping in there who
I'm just talking about
coming along for the ride.
I was only talking about the Oath Keepers. There were a lot of people there that were just there to be a part of the hoopla Sure.
Yeah, but there wasn't enough for them to really do shit. Like, I mean, other than shoot up people or whatever, but they weren't protecting shit. They weren't doing shit.
No, they weren't there.
I mean, I wish they would have came because the military would have annihilated them.
The military didn't
Yeah.
show up until hours later.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
true. That is true.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm glad this guy got what was coming to him.
Yep.
And hopefully this is not just a deterrent, but hopefully this is something where maybe our police and our military and Secret Service and whoever needs to be involved, FBI, are looking into these things a lot better, stronger than what they have been. I think right-wing terrorism is, I think they said it's like the #1 form of terrorism in like the US in like the last like 30 years or some crazy shit like that. So I think it's just something widely ignored.
For the history of our country.
Yeah, for the history of the country. So yeah, so I don't know. They should just give them like all of the right wingers, give them like a state. How many of them you think they are, like these extremists? I don't know. Just put them all in one state and leave them there, like a shitty state nobody cares about. You know,
Just live in Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, just stick them all in like Delaware or something.
No, like North Dakota.
Like Guantanamo.
Yeah. Montana.
You know what? We could just give them Texas.
I don't know. Texas got the Gulf Coast. That's kind of, it's kind of pretty. It's nice.
Maybe Louisiana, even though Louisiana
where all the hurricanes go.
Where all the hurricanes go. Yeah.
That's wow.
Give them that. Yeah.
Man, poor Louisiana. Man, they've been getting beat up pretty bad. Side note. So, more stuff to come with the Oath Keepers, and I keep wanting to say September 11th and January 6th trials, and we will see what comes out of it. But this one is definitely a big deal. And just so people understand, seditious conspiracy, what the fuck does that mean? It's when two or more persons in the state or territory or in place subject to the jurisdiction of the United States conspire to overthrow, put down, or to destroy by force the government of the United States, or to levy war against them, or to oppose by force the authority thereof, or by force to prevent, hinder, or delay the execution of any law of the United States. And that's where these folks got caught up right there.
That's a lot of verbiage.
This sounds like your last week's final thought.
Chickens and it was related to chickens too. Chickens and a coop and all of this stuff. I don't know. I don't remember.
Eggs in a basket.
Eggs in a basket.
Right.
You can put all your eggs in a basket. It's okay because
let's not go back.
More chickens.
Yeah, stop. He wants to clarify
again.
Anyway, so Nancy Pelosi is out.
Nancy Pelosi is out. Okay.
And Hakeem
it was time. It was time.
It's been overtime. Hakeem Jeffries, the first Black Party leader in Congress. And that's pretty big deal. So he will be
Isn't that
replacing
crazy?
Nancy Pelosi.
Isn't that crazy that it's 2022 and he's the first one?
Yeah, I think it's crazy. I think it's crazier that we just had our third governor. I think that's crazier.
Yeah.
The idea that we keep in 2022 going into 23, we keep having these first time Black, first time Hispanic, first time woman, first time Muslim, first time, like, you would think what the reputation this country's supposed to have, right? We're a melting pot. You don't hear that shit no more.
No.
I mean, we are a melting pot. We just don't represent it.
Yeah, well, I would say we're more like a crack pipe than a melting pot, but whatever.
Okay. Well, speaking of proper representation, not only is the leader Black, but his right hand, the new whip, is what's her name? Catherine Clark. So Catherine Clark is replacing the Jim Clyburn, who everybody knows as the whip. She will be the right hand woman for Hakeem Jeffries. And then you have Pete Aguilar, who is the new House Democratic Caucus chair, who's Mexican. And you have Representative Ted Lieu as the caucus chair, as the caucus vice chair, who's Taiwanese. So we are finally starting to see some representation.
That's great. I cannot wait to see the Republican Party do this.
Let's see how long it takes before people are starting to call for them to leave and want Nancy Pelosi back. Because
I don't think that's gonna happen.
Minorities can't get in anywhere without them immediately being judged a certain way in these positions. I'm just saying. It's a celebration now, but within the media and Democrats, let's see how long it takes before they're shitting all over him.
Oh, 100%. It's going to start yesterday.
Right.
In the media, you're saying?
Yeah.
I thought you meant within the walls of Congress.
Yeah. In the media, in the media in general, and just court of public opinion.
Well, I mean, he's not new. Jeffries, has been around, and he has a pretty good reputation. So it would be hard to just start shitting on him out of the blue.
Would it be? I mean, given a position like that, minority leader, like, I don't know.
I mean, he's now the highest ranking member in the Democratic Party, but the day before that, he was the third highest ranking. So, I mean,
that's a difference, though.
It's a difference, but he's been around and he's respected. So I guess we'll see.
I didn't think he came out of a Burger King, but yeah,
it's okay. All right, but good old Jim Clyburn he's sticking around as well. He wasn't ready to step down with the rest of the old timers. He will remain in a leadership position as assistant Democratic leader. Which
he's a good leader to remain. So yeah.
I don't really have a problem with it, because bringing in the younger crowd, more diverse crowd, but I think it's important to have someone there to show them the way as well. So I'm okay with the mixture. And he's still one for the team. So we'll see how this goes. Maybe see how they can flip this around in the next 2 years and things be on and popping.
Maybe he'll be speaker. Who knows?
So San Francisco Police Department is wanting to put in effect RoboCop.
Terminator.
They are wanting to utilize robots to kill in certain drastic situations. What you got? What is that there?
This is Jet Jaguar.
Jet
Jaguar. This is a
Never heard of
character
that.
who, he fought Godzilla. So yeah,
that's why.
But
I thought that was like
Godzilla.
a hip hop. I thought that was a
he
hip hop
fought
Tin
with
Man.
Godzilla.
A hip hop Tin Man.
Yeah,
they had the whiz.
Yo, just because it's black doesn't mean it has to be hip hop.
Whatever.
I don't know what
racist,
made this
Patricia.
thing look like hip hop or black to you. It looked like one of these modern day rappers to you or whatever.
It's kind of how they dress.
Yeah, I was saying.
That is how they're dressing nowadays. Oh, that looks like
looks
like the Tin Man. That looks like the Tin Man.
No, it's not the Tin Man. Don't
It's more like the Iron Man.
Jet Jaguar. Anyway, Jet Jaguar.
Even it's hip hop ish. Jaguar.
Considered not a great Godzilla film, but I definitely love the 1973 version of Godzilla along with Jet Jaguar. So yeah. Anyway, moving on.
Jesus Christ. So, it's cleared one round of votes, and it's moving on to round 2, and then we'll have to be passed by the mayor of the city. But it's not quite what it sounds like. It's not pushing a button and sending robots off into crowded rooms to shoot people up. These robots are not autonomous nor pre-programmed. So no iRobot type of situation. They will be used in drastic situations like mass shootings or detonating bombs and shit like that. So it'll be controlled by humans, sent into these rooms to protect the lives of cops having to face this stuff. And it will only be able to be authorized by a deputy, a chief, or assistant chief of police. So straight from the top.
Basically, the people that have been killing, now they have robots and they're sending their robots. This doesn't make me any more comfortable than if the robots were just going on their own.
No, I would have a huge problem if we were just setting robots off on their own to fucking go.
I would have more confidence.
That would be terrifying to me because that's a slippery slope.
I mean, it's terrifying that it's terrifying to me that a deputy sheriff or whoever still has the remote control. They're the ones pulling the trigger. Now they're just pulling the trigger from far away.
Okay. Well, I mean, there are situations where police do need to pull the trigger.
No, I know. But there's a lot of situations that they don't.
Right, but this wouldn't apply to those situations.
That's the beginning. We're just going to use it for certain things, and then it keeps going and going, and then the next thing you know, RoboCop is like walking down the street.
Get in your car, Patricia. It's possible. That's possible. Can't refute that. We'll have to look into the bill and see what the specifics or what the limitations are. But it hasn't even passed yet.
Saying is maybe not right now, but as these things, the technology gets better, and as time goes by and people are more accepting and they let the guard down, then would something like this be used against just normal citizens in everyday sort of stop and frisk type of situations, or whatever, there's a domestic violence call and they send fucking RoboCop out to take care of it. The thing is, I have a little bit of different take on it. I think at some point, I think we should be able to use this type of technology. I don't know if you guys have ever seen like the Boston Dynamics, like, their robots and stuff. I showed you the other day, Daym.
Yeah.
Amazing technology and stuff and the things that they're able to do. But
pretty impressive.
I think as the technology gets better, I think the likelihood of lethal force is probably a little bit less. I think we become safer with AI than, I know everybody thinks that science fiction stuff and they think iRobot and Terminator and, we get into that craziness. But I do think even in my field of work, AI intelligence and stuff is typically more accurate and more precise than any human. If you got a robot who's walking into a mass shooting sort of situation, that person may surrender knowing that they're not going to be able to stop or kill that robot.
That's why I said I was more comfortable if the robot was being sent on its own than having a cop controlling the control from.
Even if a cop is controlling it, you probably wouldn't be able to just stop it with a couple of bullets. It'll probably get you before you could even react.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that I'm thinking about. Mass shootings kind of scare me in a way because, or like a bank robbery or something crazy like that, because there's so many civilians that are going to be around. But I do think if there's some precision, if we can send missiles out to shoot terrorists and pinpoint them, I do think we have the tech to take out anyone with some sort of machinery or something entering a room or whatever.
Yeah, my concern is not their ability to perform and execute. It's just the concern that then in these movies, but all of these science fiction movies eventually become reality
to a degree.
Okay, where the AI will eventually be able to use their own discernment and could potentially then turn against us. And then
No, you're what you're talking about is like a self-learning, self-aware AI system. Um, but anything programmed to operate a function is going to operate that function. It's not going to go rogue and think for itself. So that's not how AI
I don't think
works.
we really know.
No, we know that's not how AI works.
I mean, wouldn't it
We
have to be
haven't.
programmed to do something like that?
It would have to be programmed to be able to be self-aware and self-thinking to a degree where it would be able to make those
Right.
decisions. And unless you intentionally program that in there, and even if you do, you don't know what the basis of that programming would be. So if let's say like in the idea with the Terminator, where the machines thought that it would be better to, you know, destroy humanity or whatever, or like the Matrix or any of these movies, iRobot, right, where the machines thought that, you know, they were just going to network all each other and everything, and be on the same page and operate in the same way. Like, that's total science fiction. That's not how AI works. That's not how that would ever get programmed. So
Well,
that's
but
the fiction part of the science.
that's looking at it from the view that everybody is on the same side. Just imagine you have the owner of the company who manufactures these that has his own agenda.
Right.
They can be
Or
broke.
not necessarily
there's
the owner of a company, another country.
Why would anyone or a dictator, some Dr. Evil motherfucker somewhere, want to create an AI that's going to be self-aware and self-learning? For that, just program it to destroy and do whatever your bidding is. So
That's
well, we have that now. Every missile and everything that we have is controlled or by some kind of computer program or something. So that just doesn't make sense to me. Again, we're letting the fictional part of it kind of escape what the reality is.
I just think there is an open window to some sort of nefarious goal or plot, and
You can use anything. It's just like what I'm saying is, of course, if you're creating a weapon to kill someone, then that's what it's going to do. You, depending on what you're using it for, it's a different thing. So I know the slippery slope and the scary part is, oh, robots or computers or whatever it is to control, but I think that's less likely, and it's more likely that they're going to create these things and they're going to program to do certain functions. I think the biggest threat that we have is like failed nuclear systems and stuff like that, false alarms, that sort of thing, and we've had those issues for years now. I don't think robots in the street, you know, or these machines. I mean, they have now robots that defuse bombs, right?
yeah, for years.
In the
They do.
military, right?
My concern is not like a robot just coming to life on its own and, you know, doing whatever. My concern is who's controlling the robot. Like if it's deputy and it's a racist deputy, or, you know, like right now it's for specific scenarios, but eventually, you know, if it's successful, it will take the job of many things. I don't know. It's just scary to me.
I don't know. I think if what you're saying, like, so let's say they had like these robots that were going into a situation where they were robbing a 7-Eleven, right? And the gunman puts his hands up in the air and surrenders, and the deputy decides to shoot him through the robot. It's the same thing that they're doing now.
Right.
It's the same exact thing that they're doing now, but that would be less justified because the deputy's life wouldn't be in danger. It would be a robot. So that would be harder for them to justify that killing. So I do think that having something like that in that situation would be better, because the robot probably wouldn't even need to use lethal force.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm for the technology, because I think police officers now, just like we saw in that last school shooting, they're less willing to run into an active situation where someone might be just randomly shooting, where if, you know, they had some foolproof thing where they can just send in there and not lose life, I do think that we'd have better outcomes, quicker outcomes.
I definitely feel like there's a lot of value in the technology, but I do worry about
That's fair. That's
and
fair game.
potentially
I think
being
we should
used.
worry about it. Right. But the science fiction part of it got us all shook. Really,
Well,
like
you know,
it got us all shook.
you guys know I don't even watch science fiction. I'm not into that shit at all. But it
That's
does
crazy.
seem to be like a reoccurring theme. Like the science fiction movies in the 70s are almost like what we're living today. Like eventually the shit comes around.
Not quite.
I don't whatever.
Not quite. They thought we were gonna have flying cars and shit.
I
and,
thought, man, the
like,
fucking Jetsons had me sold, man. I was so ready for that shit.
Those are one of my
Yeah.
favorite cartoons, the Jetsons and the Flintstones.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
I regret that I did that.
You do that really well.
That was my favorite cartoon. And I
Do it
didn't
again?
no, I will never.
Jetsons?
The Jetsons, yeah.
And you
I
don't
mean,
like
the
sci-fi?
Jetsons.
I didn't really watch many cartoons, or yeah, I don't like sci-fi either. So.
That's weird. That's who doesn't like sci-fi?
I don't know.
like reality, man. I don't know what to tell you.
You don't
It's
like
probably the
sci-fi?
same reason why I didn't get
You
into
don't like horror
cartoons.
movies, right?
No, I don't know. I don't like
Damn.
gory. I don't like gory
But
shit.
you're the same person who, if something is too real, you don't want to fuck with it either.
When something's too real, what do you mean?
You know, like if I said we were talking about like a Schindler's List or 12 Years a Slave or something like that.
It's not
you
that it's
tend to not want to you know, not my thing.
It's because these days I control what impacts my energy. There was a point in my life where I didn't give a fuck about that shit. I would watch it and just be fucking sad. I don't want to be sad, bro. So as great as that movie might be, I just won't watch it because I don't want to go through those emotions. I'm a very emotional person.
So you haven't
myself.
seen like the movie I Am Legend or
I've watched all of that shit, but now today I'm at the point in my life where I'm gonna pick and choose. There's certain things that I just don't want to see.
So
But
what
I
do
think,
you watch?
like
I protect
like a
my
movie
energy.
like a movie like I don't know, like Inception or Gravity.
That was a good movie.
Yeah, like movies like that. Like they're considered science fiction, but they have a lot of interesting philosophical kind of viewpoints and different things, and that doesn't interest you at all.
I'm not even aware of either of those two things.
Right.
Actually.
Or
You haven't seen Inception? Or you've
No.
never heard of it?
I'm not familiar with it.
Oh, you need to watch it.
Wow.
So you
Yeah,
don't watch
so
The Matrix either?
Yeah, I watched I think 3 of them. And I probably watched the second 2 just because I liked the first one. The first one was like I guess the most grasp on reality for me, but it started getting a little too out there for me and I kind of lost interest. But I did like the first one.
Do you watch Harry Potter?
Never.
That's not science fiction, but it's fiction. So I think you're not into fiction. Not even just the science fiction. You're not really into fiction.
That's fair. Yes.
That's odd.
What a boring life.
My life was not boring, I promise.
It sounds a little boring to me.
He doesn't like horror. He doesn't like fiction. He likes Bravo TV. That's fiction.
Oh, here we go.
You like Lifetime movies?
No,
He's into Lifetime.
No. I don't like Lifetime.
You like romantic comedies?
Tormented by Lifetime. I had a.
You like? Do you like romantic comedies? Can't even.
I could stand it, but no, it's not my preference.
Wow.
You like all the J-Lo movies?
No.
Geely or whatever the hell that
Oh,
was.
Giggly. Wasn't it Giggly?
I don't know. Who cares?
Nah, none of that shit's my thing, man. I like movies where there's some sort of suspense where you literally have to figure out who did what. Like the game Clue, like is one of my favorite board games.
So
I
watch
love
Knives
that
Out.
movie.
Watch Knives Out.
I did. We talked about that. I did watch that. I did watch that.
On what, Netflix?
It's not on Netflix.
Yeah,
not anymore.
No, the Glass Onion will be on Netflix. But you saw Knives Out?
Yeah, I did see it. After we had talked about it, I went to check it out, and it was what I thought it was. I've seen that.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah, I enjoyed that movie.
Yeah. Well, Tony
Who's
Collette.
streaming it?
I don't know if it's streaming on any service now.
Let me see.
I bought it, so yeah.
Hmm.
But
I think you can buy. I think you can rent it or buy it on Prime. I'm not sure,
yeah,
but
yeah, it's on Prime. You can see it on Prime. I think that's why I bought it. But Toni Collette is in that movie, and she's in a fantastic horror film called Hereditary, and her acting in that should have gotten some sort of award or something or acknowledgement, but they kind of look down on horror films and stuff. But excellent actress, and but check out Knives Out. It's really good.
yeah, that was good.
If you
That was
haven't,
like a
you haven't
real
seen it.
life Clue game.
I love the
Yeah.
movie Clue.
Yeah, it's been a while, but yeah, I like those movies. They don't make them often enough. But anyway,
And
back
y-
to reality.
And Catch Me If You Can. That's one of the other movies
That's a
that I
good
love
movie.
too.
Yes,
That's a
another
good
good
movie.
one. Do you know that the actual person in that film appeared in the film?
Yes.
No.
Yeah, he was the guy who ended up arresting Leonardo DiCaprio's character at the end of the film.
Oh,
One of the
really? I didn't know
officers.
that.
Yeah, so the real guy was actually in it. So pretty
That's
cool
cool.
little nugget there, little Easter egg.
That seems. I wonder if that's like a DiCaprio thing because when what's the movie about what's his name, Belfer? Uh, it's like a 3-hour movie, but it's amazing.
Titanic.
When it's about he was an investor.
Wolf of Wall Street.
Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah, the
I love that movie.
actual guy was in a scene in that movie as well.
I didn't know that either,
Yeah.
but I love that movie.
That's a great movie.
Yep, Scorsese, right? So the next item I think we should talk about is last Tuesday, the Senate passed a bill to protect same-sex marriage and interracial marriage in a landmark vote that basically codifies that, which is something I'm totally shocked is just now taking place. Could have done this for Roe v. Wade and
Yeah.
pro-choice rights, but and a lot of other things, but it finally happened, and the vote was 61 to 36, with 12 Republicans supporting it. So I guess you could say it's a bipartisan vote. But yeah, what are your thoughts?
Again, it's 2022. What's going on? I thought this was all, especially about the interracial part. I thought this was all over, all squared off.
As I sit here and think about it, man, especially after just going over what we went over, learning that it wasn't even recognized by the Supreme Court till 1967. She's gonna hate me for saying this. My mom is the oldest of her siblings, and she was born in 55. Sorry, Ma, I love you. You look great. My grandparents were married and had children, biracial children, before this was even legal in our country. That's fucking mind blowing.
That is mind blowing.
I mean,
I can't.
Yeah, a lot of things are mind blowing. I feel like we have a lot of these Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is basically rendered useless now after what happened with the abortion, right? You can't set a precedent, a legal precedent, and then change it whenever you feel like it, because then whatever the initial decision was has less power. That means that they can flip and overturn anything.
Yeah, and I think that right there was the motivation for this law, because initially when it came out, we first started talking about it, I really didn't understand what the purpose was, because we've had these things going on already, but it had not been legislated. It had just been accepted by the Supreme Court, which we now see, can feel one way today and another way tomorrow, and then the whole country's turned upside down. So making this legislation is important.
Yeah, and I think I actually like that this could be happening now in other aspects. This law, what it does is that it doesn't force the states to abide by same-sex marriage, as far as like, you could have a state that bans it, but it forces those states to recognize if someone got married in another state. So I would imagine that applies to like power of attorney type situations, and just recognizing marriage in general.
Exactly.
For taxes and all of that stuff. So I think it's great. I don't think it goes quite far enough, but I think it's a good first step.
It's probably as far as they can go in a federal level.
Right.
I think.
Without it being too intrusive to states' rights.
I think.
Is absurd,
So
but, yeah.
if someone lives in a state that doesn't acknowledge or doesn't approve of same-sex marriage, they can go have a destination wedding in another state and come home and have it recognized. That's what this law does.
Right.
It's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
And interracial marriage, by the way, too. It's
Right. Right. Yeah, you got some people and some. You see, like 12 Republicans voted for it. So who the ones that weren't? I'm sure we can look it up or whatever. But
I'm surprised 12 did.
But why? But I'm saying, like, why? Why vote against this? What?
Because of religion and whatnot.
Religion.
I mean, I think that's the only reason. Religion. I think that there's no other. I mean, the interracial thing, I can see it could be like racist things, but everything else, it would be because of religion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Daym, I have no words.
I think I feel I can see his struggle. Like, this is really like the whole interracial thing, because he can date it back to not that long ago. A lot of the times we hear people saying, oh, they should get over, minorities should get over, Black people should get over, because they think of slavery and they think of, like, I don't know, 1800s, but it wasn't that long ago. Like, these things, look at what we're going through right now. There's a lot of first things in 2022. It wasn't that long ago.
My mom was 12 when her parents' marriage was acknowledged as legal in this country. That's crazy.
I mean, the idea that you could be told that your marriage is not legal or official because of the color of your skin, it is crazy. And then even with the gay thing, like, if you're gay and you love someone and you want to join a union with them, who cares? What business is it of anyone else's?
I've never
even if
understood
that's
that.
your religion, if it's your religion,
let's
say your religion.
Yeah,
right, that's your religion. So the hell with what you think other people should be doing.
But that's really what the argument becomes, because I apply the same thing to a woman's right to choose what to do with her body. It doesn't matter how I feel personally or what my views are or what decisions I would make. She has the right to make her own decisions. My views should not be the law. The law should be that people have the right to make their own decisions, whether we think they're good or bad.
Whether it's about their bodies or the people that they love and the people that they want to be with.
It's all the same.
Right.
Yes.
And what you do in your bedroom and how you manage your money and your house and all of that stuff. That should be, if we're supposed to be in a free country, that should be stuff that should be protected immediately.
Right.
And it's just it really, we have to have all these little bills and stuff and Supreme Court decisions to, still in 2022 to still litigate these things that should be inherently just there for us in this country, and it isn't. And it's sad, but I welcome the progress, but it is something, like Patricia said, just overdue completely.
I'm actually thinking, like, what else is out there that we thought that it was already like squared off, and it isn't. It makes me wonder now. We are
It's a good
so
question.
behind as a country.
It's a good question. Because these are all things that we all thought was like good to go already.
Right.
To come to find out that it wasn't. They just
that some of us could be a product of an illegal activity. you're a multiracial person, and they're like, well, you're kind of like illegal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Which which makes you like almost be like non-human, right? I hate the word illegal, alien.
Illegals. It's the worst.
Illegals.
I think until this country finds a way to remove money and religion from our government, we're going to continue to have these problems. I respect everybody's religion. You believe whatever you want and you live your life however you see fit, but I don't think your personal views should have any say on the laws of this land. I just think it should have say on how you choose to live your own life and how you do in your household. That your household.
I think maybe by the time that my kids have great grandkids, it would be a little bit more advanced. Everything's trickling down so slowly.
You said a little bit. You didn't even say a lot. So you're talking like just baby steps.
Yeah.
Because I really agree. Money and religion and politics, it should not really be intertwined. With government, not even politics, with just government in general. Your political beliefs are whatever they are, and it can be based off of your religion, and it can be based off a lot of things. But the idea that should be in our government and that should be part of the decision making, I disagree. And of course, somebody who's religious would say, no, you got to put God in all of this and whatever it is. I've heard that argument before. I've had that argument with people who are even left leaning, who think that God should be, in schools and different things like that. And the reason why we have all this craziness is because there's no prayer in school and all of this. And my personal opinion is you can put your child in a...
I have a question, because I've heard so many times prayer is not allowed in school. I want to know which public school, because if we're going to go into religious schools, that's different. But I want to know which public school will stop you from praying.
I don't think it's schools stop you from praying. I think it's the idea that you should, like, a
have to pray.
Right. Yeah. Or have to pray. Right.
I don't think they would tell you can't pray, or we can't. Who's saying you can't?
No, I don't think that's the argument. I think they're wanting to implement prayer in school, make it a thing in school, to where everyone has to pray in school.
And we know in this country that would be primarily Christian.
Right.
That's really what the argument is. When I hear people in other religions argue for that, I'm like, if you're talking about the United States, if they implemented prayer in school, that would be praying to Jesus. It's not going to be praying to anything.
I mean, do public schools not have like religious clubs? Like, I know they have satanic clubs.
You can go to I don't know if they have like Christian clubs and stuff. I'm sure they do. I'm sure somewhere they do, but I think just forcing that. But anyway, we're getting sidetracked on that. But I just feel like we should have some fundamental rights in this country that shouldn't be dictated by someone's religious beliefs or by money or racism. Hopefully we'll get more of these things coming down the line with some bipartisan support, because it's rare that we ever agree on anything. Kanye West is in the news again. And this time...
I fucked it up, sorry. I fucked it up. Movie.
What the hell are you doing?
We just had this conversation.
Oh, God.
I was trying to be the gif that went like this,
Oh.
deuces, and disappeared. The fucking camera's following me.
Kanye West is in the news once again. Okay. Kanye West is in the news again, and we're talking about him again, unfortunately. His comments now, he went on Alex Jones's podcast, and he I'm sure you've all heard the clips. We're not going to play them here, and it's not how we kind of do things here, but he basically said that he loved Nazis. He loves Nazis, and that Hitler wasn't all that bad, I guess.
He had good
according to Kanye West.
Hitler has good qualities. Or
Good
had,
qualities,
sorry.
right. And he's
Yo,
just not going to.
They give Hitler like credit for like inventing traffic lights or some shit like that.
Yep. And he gave him credit
I'm
for
pretty sure a black man invented
microphone and this I don't know what to make of a lot of this. I have my thoughts on white supremacy in this country and racism in general. And I think the interesting part of the conversation, and we touched on it a little bit last week, is the idea that minorities are getting behind these sort of things, right? Now, this is a little bit different where Kanye West comes out and he speaks and he says something about black people, right? Because some people can say, look, he's criticizing his own people, and that's acceptable. Even if you don't agree with the opinion, some people can say they can understand it. This is a little bit different when he's outright going out on the attack against Jewish people, and he's doing it in a way that it's just red meat for people who believe in that sort of thing and who support that sort of thing, and he's normalizing the conversation. And that's the biggest concern with me now. Patricia and I spoke about this, where it's forcing us to focus on Kanye West and the things that he's saying instead of focusing on genocides that are happening today and atrocities that are happening today in the world. He's dominating the conversation where really there are things that we should be focusing on. We should learn from history and try not to repeat it as a world. Instead, we're going back and we're talking about this stuff because we have to pay attention to this asshole. And we also have to pay attention to the fact that he's normalizing a narrative that he shouldn't. So with that said, my thoughts, what do you guys think? Patricia, we'll start with you, because you and I were talking about this earlier.
So if I were to have it my way, if I were to have my own huge media company, I would start my segments with what he said, or I would say Kanye West is talking again about like I'll say something little of what he said and then turn that segment into a teachable moment. I would talk about, obviously what happened with the Holocaust, and then I will bring it to what's currently happening now with current genocides. I hate seeing him on the news. I hate that they just keep giving him all this airtime. And I hate that it's always a constant conversation about what he's doing and what he's saying and, this and that and the other. And we lose focus. We are just concentrating that he went to InfoWars or, last week he could have said things because he was Jewish. And this week he thinks Hitler has good qualities and he's running around with some, horrible person. I just wish that they would say, don't talk about it. I wish they would not show him on the TV. I feel like this is a Trump thing all over again. Every time he opens his mouth, it's breaking news, and it shouldn't be. I think that if we stop talking about him, it will go away.
But we can't, and that's the problem.
Why?
I mean, they can if they want to.
We're talking about him now. I think the three of us, if we had our preference, we wouldn't talk about him. But the fact of the matter is, we're in the news business, and this is the most spoken about news, or one of them, in the country. So even if we don't like the narrative and we don't like where it's going, if it's a trending topic or something worthy of conversation, in my mind, we have to cover it because we have to knock out the anti-Semitism. We can't normalize it. So in my mind, we have to talk about it. Same thing with civil rights, racism. I felt this same way even with the Dave Chappelle and transphobic comments or whatever. I felt like it had to be discussed and addressed because even though it seems for most people to be distractions, it really isn't, because we're talking about our social well-being.
Yeah, but I think Patricia had the perfect solution to that. She's not saying to not address it, just not to the magnitude, to the degree that we do. Acknowledge what happened and apply it to today, where the focus should be. I'm assuming what you're talking about what's going on in China.
I mean, that's a great example. You know, in the US, I'm gonna say in the US because this is where we're based, and we talk about current topics in the US because Kanye West and his shit show is not trending anywhere else, right? They might mention him here and there, but other than that, it's not like a continuous thing. It's not on every news channel or whatnot. Unlike how Trump was. He hasn't gotten that big yet. But like when we were speaking privately, I said, you know, there's over 2 million Muslims and other minorities in China. They are in concentration camps. They are getting burned. They are getting killed. And I bet you that in our country, 90% of the people don't even know what I would be talking about. Exactly. So I'm saying that if you want to talk about what's happening, or if you want to talk when we're talking about anti-Semitism and genocides and the Holocaust, if we piggyback right from that comment or from that topic and bring awareness to Palestinians and to what's the genocides in Africa that are currently happening right now, I think that would be a better outcome than just sticking to Kanye and his stupid comments. And the news is not even what happened in the Holocaust. The news is, oh, Kanye saying that Hitler had great qualities. Like, it gets so lost. Like, we have an opportunity. So many people are watching what he's saying, or they're watching the news about him. Then we should piggyback right and bring awareness to what's happening now. That's what I'm trying to say.
I agree with you 100%. That's something that we should see more and we should do more. I think part of the drive, especially when we're talking about the news media, is what trends. So I think when the news media talks about some of these things, if CNN reports on something that could be happening in the other side of the world, that tends not to get the attention and views and the focus from the public. But the moment Kanye West pops up, you know, their viewership goes up. And they know what the ratings look like, right? They know from every segment that they put what dips and what trends.
Right.
Once that Kanye story is finished, then they go into Palestine or whatever it is, Israel, whatever it is, even Ukraine, whatever it is, and all of a sudden the viewership kind of dips. So I think I would agree with you, but I think what the general public in America wants to consume is the bullshit. It's
so
popcorn
then
stuff.
so then to me,
Well,
then it validates kind of what I'm saying. Go ahead, Damien.
I'm sorry.
It does.
I don't.
I agree with you.
I think it's like fast food.
Yes.
It wasn't desired by anybody until it became the easiest thing to find. So I don't necessarily think it's a matter of Americans wanting this. It's just what we become accustomed to because that's what we're fed. So I think the media has the responsibility, and we've talked about this before, where instead of becoming agents of advertisement, they can actually present some fucking news.
Right. No, let me just say I agree with the both of you 100%. It should start with the media. Absolutely, because they have the responsibility. They're the ones that are influencing the narrative. Totally agree with you both on that. I'm just looking at it from the point of view, and just we've gotten to the point now where does the media even matter that much anymore because of the internet? That's why they've lost so much viewership. You CNN can report the right things now, or MSN, or even Fox, and the truth of the matter is most people are still getting their news from the internet now. And not to say that they shouldn't try, but I just think in general, podcasts like this and social media and in general, there should be more standards, higher standards, because there are a lot of teachable moments in these things.
Yeah, I agree. I hope this, even our conversation, that at least sparks someone's curiosity to go Google the Uyghurs and see what the hell we're talking about if they're not aware.
Or just, not only that, or just Google current genocides 2022, or something like that, so you can see what's actually happening. I mean, I think I have these type of conversations. I'm Muslim, so I have these type of conversations with friends, and all the time. And it saddens me that right now there's like over 2 million people in concentration camps, and you don't hear anything about it in the media. You just don't. And that's to me, that's just like, to me it's crazy, because if you had in anywhere in the world 10,000 or maybe 5,000 or maybe 2,000 Jewish people in a camp, and they're getting sterilized and they're getting burned and they're getting killed, it will sound all the alarms that there are in this world. But because they are Muslim, you don't hear it. You just, and that's a fact. That's just a fact.
I think part of it is because of where it's happening and their control over what information gets out as well. So
Let's take Palestine then, for example.
I mean, but even in fairness, when the Holocaust was happening, right, there were a lot of American Jews not paying attention to what was happening. That's factually what was going on. In fact, a lot of Jews in those regions, and like Poland or whatever, blamed American Jews for not having enough outrage to prompt the United States to act quicker. So worldwide, when we're talking about these kind of things, we have to understand that, yeah, of course, in the United States, we're primarily looking at Christians, and Jews aren't even, I don't even know what the demographic is and what's the second most popular religion. But I would say Christian, if it was happening to like a Christian genocide, then that would be widely reported in the States. And then everything else becomes a little bit secondary. But I do like what I see in the Jewish community in general. I think that they're way more outspoken, and they're way more willing to do the things necessary when their people get attacked. And I think we should take note as minorities, as people of color, people of different religions. We should take notes, because our voices should be power. Our voices should have that kind of influence, and our voices should be able to drown out that horrible anti-Semitic, racist bile that you see constantly coming out of the mouths of these monsters. Kanye West is a fucking fool. I think we all know that. I think we all now acknowledge that some of what he's doing is for attention. I think he believes what he says, but I think it's mostly just the media putting him out there because it's going to increase viewership, and that's the problem. That's the problem. So media responsibility, we've talked about this before, but Kanye West, I don't know how far he's going to take it, but it's getting pretty ugly now.
I mean, he's going to take it as far as people keep getting him airtime. I mean, it's, he's
not going to stop on his own. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Just for the record, Judaism is the second largest religion in the United States.
It's the second. Okay, yeah. Just I didn't want to make that claim without knowing, so thanks for looking that up. But yeah. So moving on from that, let's get away from that asshole. what do you guys think about? So I'll just start off with this. We'll get into the Nas and the 21 Savage. It's gonna be really quick because we're gonna get into the music recommendations and stuff. But I was calling him 21 Sacrilege for making those comments about Nas, right? And now he's 21 Salvage because Nas and 21 Salvage have now done a collaboration track in light of 21 Salvage saying that Nas was not relevant.
So do you think this was planned?
No.
Because why would Nas do this?
No.
I have a theory on why Nas did this, and I like what Nas did. I think Nas is trying to bring together a lot of the new rappers with the older rappers and stop this kind of ageism thing before it gets out of control. So now, if you're a younger person and you really like 21 Savage and you could give a shit about Nas, well, you're gonna hear the new song and you're gonna hear them both rap on it, and then you can make that decision for yourself. I think it was a smart way for Nas to just be like, hey, you know, we're all people of color, we're all in this hip hop music, and we all need to be one community.
Yes.
And I like it, and I do like it, and I think that was a more effective way of just coming out and dissing him or making some statement. He collabed with him.
Yeah, for sure. I love the idea of it because I think a lot of the flack our generation of hip hop gets is that we didn't provide enough information and enough assistance to the generation coming behind us. So this was Nas reaching his hand back and saying, "Come on, let's figure this out together instead of going against each other." So
I had no idea who 21 Savage was.
he's a popular rapper today.
That's funny. I had a conversation with my daughter. My daughter kind of defends 21 Savage, and she, to some degree, understands. And some people think, oh yeah, well, he's not really that relevant. Nas, you know, it's not really relevant to young people. But the idea that Patricia doesn't really follow hip hop like that and didn't know who the hell 21 Savage is, but she knew who Nas was.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's just, I think it just depends on where you're at and what you're doing. But the idea that Nas was not relevant ever was just kind of silly. Yeah, I'm glad that hopefully this conversation is done and we've moved on. The song was okay. I heard the song. Wasn't bad, wasn't great.
I didn't like it at all.
It was just okay to me.
It's trash.
Yeah.
What did you guys not like about it?
I didn't like 21 Savage.
I didn't like Nas's verse was okay. It was a light verse for him, and I think
they went back and forth. Yeah,
he probably had to go light because of I don't know.
He had a nice flow to him. He did.
It was
like
okay.
Nice
it was okay.
That's what it was for.
That verse
That's all it was for.
That verse would not have made King's Disease, any of them, 1, 2, or 3. But it was light work for Nas. I didn't enjoy any of 21 Savage's verse, I guess we'll call him. There was a bar that I did like, 1 or 2 bars that I liked, but overall I didn't enjoy the song. I forced myself to listen to it more than 2 times just to hope to catch something else, but I'll probably never listen to it again. But I love what it represents, what it's about.
I like the beat. I thought the beat was good. I don't want to shit on 21 Savage, but just him kind of rapping with Nas, it was pretty obvious to me who the better MC was, and it wasn't even close. But some people would disagree. If you're a fan of 21 Savage, I'm sure you would.
I'd love to have that conversation.
Yeah, I would love to. But you know, overall the message was positive. And,
I love that they did it. I love the concept of the record and everything. It's just the bars weren't there for me.
Yeah, so more unity in hip hop.
So being that Nas is such a great rapper, why did you think it was not up to par? Is it because?
Well, I don't like everything that Nas has ever done either, but just compared to the most recent work that he's put out, I think he had to it's not gonna sound good no matter how I say it, so I'm just gonna fucking say it. I think he had to dumb down his ability to not overshadow 21 Savage so much. Because the point of the record is them coming together, right? It's a thing in hip hop where, you know, it's competitive. So normally when we get on a track, we want to outdo each other. We want to be the best one on the whole song.
Right.
I don't think that was the goal here. I think he was intentionally just trying to make it more of a unison thing, because then the next topic about this song would have been how Nas trashed 21 Savage all over the song, and it would have distracted from
taking the positivity out of it.
Yes, in my opinion.
I enjoyed Nas's verse a little bit more than Daym did, but I tend to like Nas more, so that could be it. I think Nas was going for more flow than lyrical content or whatever, and I think he accomplished that. But yeah, I wouldn't say that it's his best work, because you know, he's got so many classics that it's kind of hard to put that up there with that. So the expectation when Nas makes music now, especially after his last 3 albums,
I think I got caught up in that.
Trying to set the bar high, right?
I'm still listening to, you know, King's Disease 3, you know, every other day. So I'm here with it, you know, on my Nas register right now. And then when I play that song, and I'm like, whoa,
it's not quite the same, but you know, it serves the purpose. And
for the purpose, it was great.
Right.
Agree. That was all I have for music, man. There's really not much dropping this week that I'm interested in, so this was really the only thing I had to talk about as far as music goes. So what do you have for movies?
So as you guys know, I've been kind of focusing on documentaries. I think for this channel, on this podcast, I think it's important that we all learn something, and so I want to kind of focus on things where I think it'll give people some knowledge of things and just heighten awareness. So the 2 documentaries I'm recommending for this episode is going to be, the first one is The Trials of Gabriel Fernandez. This was a heavy documentary that came out like 2 years ago. Devastated me. It deals with a lot with child abuse and how just people tend to mind their business and turn a blind eye to atrocities to children.
Not just people, professionals that are supposed to, right, that are supposed to be, you know, taking care of these kids and how they fall through the cracks.
And just this, it's really hard to watch. It's a really hard watch because the way they describe some of the things, and you know that this person was really crying for help and nobody wanted to do anything. So without seeing anything more, check it out. It's a hard watch, but if you're a parent, I think it's important, because I think, or not even a parent, but we should be able to pick up some of the warning signs and speak out if we suspect anything like this happening. You wanted to say something else?
This was one of the few documentaries I've seen that I had to stop it, take a break, and continue like another day. I just, you know, it just took a toll, because I think when I watched it, I had one of my kids were that age or close to that age. So it was even more, it hit home more. And I just can't think of a parent doing something like this.
Were you more angry or were you more sad? Because I know both emotions run.
I was definitely angry.
Yeah.
Very angry.
Yeah.
I was very, very angry at the lack of dismissiveness. I was very angry.
This sounds like a great movie that I'll never watch.
You should.
I have my opinions on that sort of opinion, but we'll reserve that for another conversation.
Man. I just can't. I'm too emotional.
I mean,
and
it really does.
I'm a violent person, bro. to hear Patricia talk like that, it only makes me think I would probably be 10 times worse, and I can't.
Yes,
I
because
can't take myself there.
I watch documentaries and I watch them and I'm like, oh, but this is one of them that I was like, I cried and I had to stop and I was so angry and I'm Google searching these people, to see where they live. And, I was angry I don't want to give too much about the documentary, but I was pissed. I was very pissed.
I feel differently. I feel like we should, not from you, Patricia, from Daym. I hate to say it, but I subject myself to a lot of this stuff because I think it's important to have the conversation. If I took the same approach you did, I wouldn't be recommending it today. And that's why I think it's important. But on a lighter note, there's another documentary I want to recommend, and this one just recently dropped on Netflix. It's called "Is That Black Enough for You?" And it goes into the impact of African Americans in cinema.
Something light-skinned people.
Hey, listen,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, I said on a lighter note, right?
Yeah, you did.
actually-
Was that pun intended?
Yeah, no, it was not. But I'm an MC, so bars just flow for no reason.
Oh.
But
Oh,
yeah, so
mic check.
it happens. But yeah, it was really great watching that. You get a real good perspective on Black cinema and some of the origins of it and some of the main people behind it. And just in cinema history in general, you kind of get a really great idea of the impact of people of color, in our culture today, as far as films and things of that nature. So check it out. It's on Netflix.
What's it called again?
Really, really a good watch. It's called "Is That Black Enough for You?"
Now that sounds like a movie that I'll probably watch. Well, I don't know who needs to hear this, but
Here we go.
many of
bracing.
life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success when they gave up. Hope that doesn't go over your head. Thomas Edison, by the way.
I actually love that one. You
Me
redeemed
too.
yourself. Good
Can
quote.
insert applause here.
Schweddy balls.
And there's the name of the episode.
Schweddy balls.
For no fucking reason.
There we go.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. Subscribe, like, share.
Look at that. Ooh, look at that wide ass arm. Go like this again.
You want to see the guns? Is that what it was?
I
You know,
can't because the
I
glare
wear-
is too bright.
I actually wear long. In the summertime, I would turn like this fucking wall behind me, so I wear long sleeves outside.
I've never seen you that color.
Yeah, that's a nice story. Okay, so thank you for. No, I'm kidding. I'm fucking with you.
And he talks about not liking fiction. That was a fiction story. You turned that black during summer.
I get really dark very quickly.
You live in Florida.
Mhm.
You live in Florida. You work outside underneath the sun.
Yes.
And you are still looking like
I wear
Whitey
a
West.
hat and I wear
Okay.
long sleeve. Do you want to see my
Mhm.
legs? I mean, we got to do this. What the fuck are we? Patricia, real life. Like I've stood in front of you. What are you talking about?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Real life. I've seen you. And you're very café con leche, más leche que café body.
Okay. Thanks for tuning in.
Have a nice weekend.